Hello folks, and a very warm welcome back to my channel. You may have seen in some of my recent videos, both astronomy and wild camping ones, that I've been wearing a pair of down trousers, and now we're in the middle of winter pretty well. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about my Rab Argon down pants. My name's John and I make videos on camping, walking and astronomy. If you like what you see in this video, then please check my channel out, as you may find others that interest you there. But in the meantime, let's crack on with this video. Now, I first saw these trousers on a YouTube video by a lady called Juliet Elliott. She's a cyclist and often puts videos up from backpacking. And she bought a pair of these to basically see if she could get away with no sleeping bag. And I showed this video to Mrs. Camping Astronomer, who's always cold, and yeah, she was quite impressed by what she saw. So yeah, Mrs. Camping Astronomer was straight onto the internet and ordered a pair. What we did notice in the ordering process was the trousers don't appear under a female section for anything. There's no like women's version. You have to order the men's version. But having said that, having a look on the internet, there was quite a few reviews of ladies who purchased these and they appeared to fit fine. And I think because they're not form fitting, they accommodate ladies' figures as well as men's. What did appear to happen though was that you need to order a size bigger than you think you should be in order to get them to fit, and this is what Mrs. Camping Astronomer did, and hers fitted fine. So yeah, when they arrived, she was absolutely delighted with how warm they were, and it sort of occurred to me that now we were in winter time that they might be good for me, partially for sitting in a tent when you're doing winter camping, and partly for being out in the back garden when it's absolutely freezing doing astrophotography. So yeah, after all the glowing words from Mrs. Camping Astronomer, I ordered a pair for me, and my waist size is sort of 31-32 inches, which in pretty well everything means small, but in Rab world, as far as these trousers go, I ordered a medium. And when they subsequently turned up a couple of days later, they fitted me really well. So I think you do need to go a size up on what you think you maybe are in normal world associated with these trousers. So yeah, let's take a look at them in a bit more detail. So the Rab website suggests wearing them over a base layer, which is what I do. When I'm doing astrophotography, I just pull them on over my jeans. But when I'm camping, I use it as I have a thermal layer underneath. That's the one that I'm going to sleep in. And then I pull these over the top of that just for sitting around the tent. And Rab's suggested use for these trousers is as a in tent or around camp pair of trousers, or in a bivvy. Basically, that's what they reckon they're ideal for. The design of them is very simple. There's a popper on the waist, and also there's a belt so you can cinch it in a bit. The belt's removable. There are no pockets, so as I say, it's a very simple design. So there's no hand pockets in the trousers, and the bottom of the legs is elasticated to get your foot in and out of. Oh, and they've got a front fly zipper as well. In terms of fill, it's goose down filling, and there's 160 grams of goose down in the trousers, and the fill power is a fill power of 800, which is at the upper end of the fill power spectrum. And the outer is a 20 denier Pertex outer. It's got a DWR, durable water repellency finish on the outside, and I forgot to mention that the down is also treated, so it's a hydrophobic down. And I think the DWR and the down treatment, I think, are by Nick Wax. So this makes it useful if you get caught out, if you're pottering around your camp and you get caught out with a quick shower, the trousers are going to retain their warmth. The overall weight of my medium pair is looks like about 390 grams. So the fill weight of 160 grams of down is actually quite a significant proportion of the weight of the garment. Useful for camping. They pack down quite small. You get a little stuff sack with them, so they're quite easy to stick in your rucksack and take along with you. So yeah, how do they perform in use? Well, the first thing is they are exceptionally warm. When you pull them on, within a couple of minutes you start feeling warmth all around your legs. It's quite amazing. So yeah, Mrs. Camping Astronomer wasn't telling porkies when she was saying how warm they were, and this is really due to the high fill power of 800 and the comparatively high fill weight of 160 grams. Certainly I've found sitting around in your tent in the winter, they make a massive difference. And yeah, out doing astrophotography in the back garden, it's like night and day compared to going out there shivering in your jeans. Now, doing astrophotography, normally you kind of spend about half an hour or so setting up, and once you've set up, you dive back indoors again and have your dinner or whatever, and then go back a bit later on and see how you're getting on. If you happen to be into visual astronomy, which I used to do before I took up astrophotography, you're really sitting outside for a couple of hours, and at this time of year that's quite a difficult thing to do. You're kind of layered up and layered up and layered up, and these sorts of trousers would make a huge difference to anybody doing visual astronomy. The only negative I can come up with really with these trousers is the lack of a small pocket. For pottering around inside a tent, that's not really an issue. Everything always gets lost in tents anyway. You're constantly scrabbling around looking for stuff. But I do miss that when I'm out doing astrophotography. It's good to be able to stuff things in your pocket, even if it's just your phone or lens caps and things like that. So that's something that I do miss a little bit. Camping, not so much. Astrophotography, it would have been nice to have had a pocket. One thing that doesn't affect me, but could be seen as a little bit of a negative, is if you were using these as a pair of belay trousers, and on the face of it they would ideally suit somebody doing belaying in the winter, where you're basically standing around in the freezing cold. The fact that where the feet come out is elasticated and there are no zippers means that it would be necessary to take your boots on and off in order to kind of pull these on, which is always a bit of faff that you could do without. But, you know, being fair on the trousers, Rab don't actually market them as a pair of belay trousers, although everything other than the lack of a zipper, say, at the bottom of the leg in order to get your boots through the trousers, apart from that, they'd make an ideal pair. But like I say, it's probably a bit unfair to put that down as a negative, because that's not actually what Rab market these things for. So onto the all-important cost then. At the time of filming, Rab had these up on their website for £165. When Mrs. Camping Astronomer bought hers, she found her pair for £120. And I think when I got mine from Trek It, I think, down in the southwest, and they were around £140. Looking for comparable down trousers, this is about par for the product, and even perhaps a little bit lower than some of the competitors. Typical competitors for these would be made by Montaigne, Mountain Equipment, PhD Designs, and Jack Wolfskin. However, there's no way of getting round it. £120 to £160 is an awful lot of money to spend on a pair of trousers, and there are cheaper ones that are available. Typically through Amazon and I think AliExpress. One of the best cheaper alternatives that I've come across, I think, is made by Nature Hike. And I think one or two YouTubers that I watch have these Nature Hike trousers, and the kind of heavier weight wintry ones go for around £90 on Amazon, I think. Now, interestingly, from what I can see, these Nature Hike ones actually have a leg zipper, which was one of the criticisms that I had of the Rab ones. So that's then got one up on Rab, if you like, for a cheaper product. On the downside, I think the Nature Hike ones don't have so much fill, something like 110 grams in for the same size as what Rab would have 160 grams in. So I wouldn't expect them to be quite as warm as the Rab ones, but still a heck of a lot better than just kicking about in normal trousers inside a tent. So these Nature Hike type ones would make a good alternative for somebody who didn't want to spend the money on the Rab ones. So in conclusion then, for me, I find them dead useful both for camping and for astrophotography. They're incredibly warm for their weight. The manufacturing standard appears to be very high, all the stitching's dead good, I'm not suffering from feather loss or anything like that. And they're made to Rab's kind of ethical and environmental standards, which are quite high. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with them, as is Mrs. Camping Astronomer with hers. So if you do wild camping and stuff, I think these would be quite invaluable, or the cheaper kind of Nature Hike versions. And I've got every intention probably of using mine through to the springtime, after which it gets sort of nice and warm in your tent. So yeah, I hope you found this review useful if you're interested in getting a pair of down trousers. And with that, I'll wrap up for now, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Cheerio.